Welcome to another video of Alpha Audio. Some of you may know us from our factory visits or interviews or videos from the high-end Munich, but not so much from our product reviews. But that's going to change because from now on we're also going to publish our videos in the English language. Not all of them, because we have quite a large Dutch fan base or Dutch audience, and we don't want to leave them in the cold. So some videos will still be in Dutch, but also in English. So we hope you like that. In this first video, we're going to talk about the Rotel Michi. The older audience may know Rotel Michi from the 90s. They released their 10 series back then, and it was quite a product. It was very popular, mainly because of the high level of performance, and despite the high price tag, it was still quite affordable. The main difference between Rotel and Michi was that Rotel, they had to build it and they had to choose the components according to price. And well, the end result was a good product for a good price, but it was not really high performance. With Michi, that's different because they had practically carte blanche, so they could choose the best components, and they didn't have to save a penny. Still, of course, they have to, because otherwise it would be like the D'Agostino Relentless. But Michi was substantially more pricey, but it was also of a much better performance. Well, with the new series, it's not any different. It's, well, not really expensive, but it's still very expensive. The stereo and mono power amp are about 6,000 euros. And the preamplifier is around 3,500, at least in the Netherlands it is. And that's quite pricey compared to the normal Rotel series that are around, 2,500 euros for an integrated amp with DA converter. The preamp is not only an analog preamp though, it's also a DA converter and an analog preamp. It has a USB input, coaxial, optical, single-ended, balanced, everything you want. And the stereo power amp is also balanced and non-balanced, but the design, I have to tell you, the design is not symmetrical. It's not a balanced design. So even Rotel Michi in this case, says single-ended is better than balanced in this case because, it's the purest path. We discussed a little bit of the specs, but not really thoroughly. That will be mentioned in the review online, alphaaudio.net. So when it's released, please check it out, then you have all the specifications you want. But the preamp has coaxial inputs, optical inputs, USB inputs, single-ended input, balanced input. You can name every input you want. You have to use the remote control for that, but it's possible. The display is completely configurable. So you want a dimmed display, that's possible. You want another layout, that's possible. You want to name the inputs, of course, you can. Even with the power amp, and that's something we don't see that often. It's quite bizarre. You can choose what you want on the display. You can have a VU meter, a spectral meter. You can dim the display, but it's not completely. You cannot completely shut it off, and that's a pity actually, because if you use it in a home cinema layout like we did yesterday, you always see the display, and I would like to switch it off completely. So I hope with the next firmware update, because it's practically a computer, so you can update it, they will give the possibility to switch it off completely. Well, let's talk about the performance now, the sound performance. Well, it's completely different than any Rotel amp we heard. Rotel is powerful, it can control a big speaker, you have a lot of oomph, but it's not the most refined amplifier you can find out there. So let's be honest, Rotel just isn't the most refined you can find. But this is. The Rotel Michi is a much more refined amplifier than the Rotel. It's detailed, it's airy, it's light-footed. It's like a ballerina but with a lot of muscle. It's a bizarre combination we hear, and we use the pass slaps with the Bryston very often. It's our benchmark. So, but it's not that much different. But it's less pricey than the combination of the pass slaps with the Bryston. That's like 15,000 euros in the Netherlands, or 14,000 something, and this is not even 10,000. So it's quite a good price tag. And the first impression is just wow, airy, fast, controlled, detailed, everything you want. But you need to take care of your power. When we use the normal power cords in the normal sockets, it wasn't that great. It's good, but it's not really that great. When we used the AudioQuest power cables with our filtering, it made a huge difference on the Michi. So please take note of that and keep that in mind when you install or buy a Michi. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you like it. I hope you like our English versions, so you don't have to use the bad subtitles in YouTube. We hope to see you next time. Bye bye.